Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, and holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. I was thinking we were going to do a late show. It turns out to be an earlier show. And before we get started, I want to talk just a quick minute about diamond painting, because this is the new diamond painting that I got. And you can see it is on a canvas. And it was $4 Canadian, but you don't do the background of this one. You just do this part. Anyways, but I like this thickness. Some girls like it thick. Some girls really like it thick. I like it approximately, what's that, half an inch? Half an inch thick, right? Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well today. We are going to Thurston County. I don't know what's going on there. Something's in the water. Somebody has gotten to all these neighbors and they're all out there cutting the fucking trees down, doing crazy shit. So let's watch this case together. And then I will be... Watch me realize in real time that my Fitbit is charging 88%. It's got to be enough. If I don't put it on now when I remember, I won't remember. Then when I go to the gym later, it will be for naught. I am not a good record keeper of my own life. So unless my Fitbit records it, it didn't happen. Anywho, yeah. So that's the way we do. Oh, Judge. Judge, you're so serious. Look how serious he is. He's got a pen. He's like, hey you. Hey you, don't do that to your neighbors, huh? On your ankle, does it work? Mine's got a heart rate monitor on it, and it is, oh! Do, Streamlabs, you're so quick lately. I owe you an apology. You're so beautiful. Thank you so much. I have a secret too. You know, I went and I bought myself a pack of hair elastics. And I realized that with the right hair elastic in your fucking head, like on your head, it doesn't actually hurt. You don't have to have like your hair being pulled super tight. Anyways, I was just in a groove this morning. I don't think it was all due to the hair elastic. I think there was a multitude of things happening, including my intermittent fasting working, my exercise working, all these different things. All these little dopamine producers that I'm working on. You know, I love getting high for free. Off of dopamine. Off of dopamine. Okay, let's go. Okay.
He can stay back there for now, and then if he testifies, he can come up later. But right now, we'll just stick with you. And then Mr. Stegman, no, wrong one. Mr. Fogel, you're on the Zoom call there.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so before we start this,
Thanks, Sean. The judge is thinking. What's he thinking about? Maybe he's fasting too. He's thinking, man, I wish I had a tater tot. I wish I had.
Mr. Fogel filed a response. Did you get a chance to see that? Second, there's some pictures. We couldn't just print off the respondent statement.
I have additional stuff that's
Okay,
happening.
so hang
she-
on just a minute.
She has additional things. Don't we all love tater tots? Actually, I don't eat that many tater tots. I like hash
yeah.
brown patties for my potato intake. Along with just pure potatoes, potatoes. But I'm trying to be more mindful with my
Ma'am, come
eating.
forward, please. And I'll have you testify if you have
Okay.
additional information you want to say. You go take a seat. I don't need to see yours. Just give you just a minute.
What do we call this? Is this buffering? This is judge buffering because he's just constantly buffering. It's like watching a movie in the early 2000s or the mid 2000s.
You're done, ma'am.
Ooh, Instant Pot mac and cheese. I made Instant Pot chicken yesterday. Love it. While early today. You're not that late. No, we're just getting started, really. We're 7 minutes in, and I've been singing most of it. Judge is just, what are you looking like that, Judge? Wow. Anyways, I just want to get done so that I can get to the gym and get my shit done. Then I can eat what I want. Also, secretly, I'm gonna get the
So, ma'am,
ingredients to make wonton
so
soup.
again, before we start, and this is going to apply to everybody, what happens in these hearings, I'll swear in one side. I'll swear in the petitioner first. I'll hear from the petitioner. Following that, I'll swear in the respondent and hear from the respondent. Anybody have any witnesses you want to call? You can do that. Apparently, Ms. Gilbert, you might have a witness you wish to call. If you could do that, that's totally fine. I'll swear him in and listen from him or not. And then following that, I'll make a determination whether or not some of these cases, temporary has been ordered, some of them haven't. But I'll make a decision whether or not the order will continue for the next year. Again, just the way things work here in court, you don't talk over the other party. I want all comments directed to me. You're going to hear things you don't like. You're going to hear things you disagree with. And there are rules we have, and I want everybody to follow them. And we'll go from there. So Ms. Gilbert, could you raise your right hand, please? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can put your hand down. Go ahead.
Eric Fogel makes me very uncomfortable because he has no reason to be in my neighborhood. He lives several miles away in an apartment where he was served the hearing protective order. He keeps breaching our property and coming into my yard. He mowed our grass, called and ordered our landscaping company to mow our grass. He has people parking in our driveway when we are out of town without our permission. He has escalated further, crossing over my property lines and even further now past my 6-foot cedar fence into my secure backyard while we were gone just for the day, and had 24 of our 20-foot high bush trees cut down in half without asking. I did not want them cut, and he had absolutely no right to cut my trees. And I am terrified that someone who doesn't live in our neighborhood thinks coming into someone's fenced backyard and cutting their trees is okay. We had just left for the day with our grandchildren who are visiting for a short-term time. And I'm scared how he could know we were gone, as we did not tell anyone, but he is watching us in our neighborhood. He pulled up his car next to me in the next lane at a traffic light and was waving his arms frantically at me. And the day after he was served this protection order, He came to the end of my driveway, and I have photos, and he's screaming and yelling at the end of my driveway. I have video, and I sent it to a police report I filed. And
What was he yelling?
I think he called the neighbor to complain that I had put a protection order on him. And so he was screaming, and I sent it to a police officer. I couldn't leave because he was blocking my driveway. And so then after I finally saw he left, I left for the night and stayed in a hotel. I had to work on Monday, so I came back very late the next day. I've lived there 5.5 years. He's never lived in my neighborhood.
When did all this start? You've been there for 5.5 years.
He was supposedly lived there a long time ago. He got divorced from his wife, and he still comes to the neighborhood. I don't know why.
But when did this start with you
Ever
in the
since-
yard and all
Ever
that?
since we've lived there, he runs up to you if you're outside. He'll run up to you and start talking to you, and he's got no one around him. I don't know why he's in our neighborhood, but he runs up and talks to anybody if they're outside, and he just won't stop talking. He's a lonely, retired old guy that I don't know why he comes to our neighborhood and doesn't stay in his apartment area where he lives. I'm at home by myself for extended periods, and he's setting off my alarms all the time, crossing our property lines. He's always doing something out in the yard, and he's looming around our property. Seems to know what we're doing at any time. Our landscaping company didn't understand English very well, so they didn't understand why this guy's telling them to cut our grass when we did not authorize them to tell them to do that. I've witnessed them screaming and yelling at our trash truck. He doesn't live in the neighborhood.
All right.
I can't sleep at night, and I have a medical condition, and I even coughed blood yesterday. So I just need to get a protection order so that I can, when I call the police can come. I have someone here for protection.
Okay. Mr. Fogel, could you raise your right hand? And do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your response to, hang on just a second.
What a weird situation. I don't know though. I mean, we've all had neighbors like that just sort of hang out outside and talk to everybody.
Do you live in that neighborhood?
No, Your Honor. I come over here to help my ex-wife out with her yard and anything she needs done. I had lived here. I moved into this neighborhood, bought the house here in 1993. I lived here to 2013. After the divorce from my ex-wife, I went ahead and moved out at that time in August of 2013. The only reason I come over here is to help my wife out. She's by herself. She doesn't have anybody else except for my 2 daughters. One daughter lives in California. The other lives in Algona, Pacific.
Um,
Can I respond to her?
yeah, yes, I
Last
am.
Thursday.
Hang on just a second. Yeah, could you raise your right hand, please? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Last Thursday, I was coming for a dental appointment. I was coming down Marvin Road, going to my apartment after my appointment. I pulled up to the intersection next to the McDonald's there where Panda Express is across the street. I noticed Miss Gilbert was pulled up in her truck next to me, waiting to make a left-hand turn. I had my window down, the radio was on. All I do is look over. I was going to make a hand gesture to say hello. She raised the window and looked straight ahead. As far as the commenting on talking to her neighbor across the street, I wasn't frantic. I just asked him, how he was doing. And I'm friendly with all the neighbors in the neighborhood. Like I said, I've been here 28 years. I know everybody in the cul-de-sac. And the only reason I come over here is to help my ex-wife out. That's all. As far as being frantic or anything, I don't know what she's talking about.
Well, she says she would, well, for one thing, well, I mean, why are you?
I just do it as a gesture to help my wife out. That's all. We had been married 28 years.
How does mowing other people's yards help your wife out?
I had done that, it explains in my respondent statement, Your Honor. The lawns are adjoining between Mrs. Gilbert and Mrs. Fogel's. And all I did was ask her neighbor, what she put in her statement, Chris Tolley, which was watching her house. And I asked Chris, I said, hey, if you need a hand mowing Mrs. Gilbert's yard, because he was doing it while their landscaping service stopped at the end of September 2023 while they were gone for a year. And just because the two lawns adjoin, it takes me all of 10 or 15 minutes to mow her yard. It was just being neighborly and courteous. That's all I was doing. And when I went out and picked up Mrs. Fogel's front yard, I picked up the branches, the pine cones, and whatever was in her flower beds at the time. Because she has a big maple tree in the front, which you'll see in one of the pictures that I submitted. During the fall, the maple leaves fall and they blow into everybody else's yard, including Mrs. Fogel's and Mr. Tolley across the street. And I raked them all up, put them in Mrs. Fogel's bins, and took care of them. They took them away with the recycling. I was just being a courteous neighbor, that's all. Your Honor, they also share a common bed next to between Mrs. Gilbert's house and Mrs. Fogel's house. I asked Mr. Gilbert before they left in July, do you mind me maintaining this while you're gone? He said, no problem. You know, he said, I'll keep it weeded, I'll keep it pruned and take care of all the weeds. And at that time, beside the house is an entrance to the gate, which is one of the pictures, which is always open. I went over and raked the pine cones and raked the branches from the three fir trees that they have over the tower over Mrs. Fogel's house.
What, do you have anything you wish to say?
We stop our service. They know we don't want our grass cut from October to April because it doesn't grow. We never get fined from our HOA. This guy tells our mowing company what level to mow our grass. He has told them when to cut our grass. We did not want him cutting our grass. We don't want him on our property. He went behind our fence and cut 24 tree bushes. They're 20 feet tall.
Yeah, I saw them. Was that on your property?
Yes, behind a fence. And we were there. He did a lot of things while we were gone. We could see him on our camera walking around our property. But when we were gone, when we were home, he's even done this, escalating. And we were with our grandkids. We left for the day. I don't know how he knew we'd be gone, but he had 24 trees cut while we were gone just for the day with our grandkids.
And Mr. Fogel, what say you to that?
And he doesn't live there. He's
Okay,
not a neighbor. He's not being
I know
neighborly.
that, I know that.
Okay.
Your Honor, I talked to Mr. Gilbert about trimming the shrubbery on Mrs. Fogel's property twice prior to them leaving at the end of July of 2023. His explanation to me was it cost too much money. His landscaping company wanted $1,500. Now, I'm not sure if that was the whole property or just her trees. So I said, well, I'll get with you when you get back. And they got back in July. I asked him again about it and he didn't know what they were going to do. So I said, okay, I called their landscaping company. Their landscaping company gave me a bid. They came over, they pruned the trees on Mrs. Fogel's property. They never stepped foot on Mrs. Gilbert's property whatsoever. They raked up all the branches and hauled the branches away. And we cut the branches, the things that were holding, you'll see the picture. It's picture number 1 that was overgrown on the south side of Mrs. Fogel's fence. And the damage to the fence is pushing the post over, which I rebuilt the fence in summer of 2022 at a cost of $550. I did not get any money from them. They tied their fence into her fence, which they never came and asked to do that. And her landscaping company came and did it for a price of $500.
Who paid them?
I paid them, sir.
It's giving me a headache too, Judge.
There's pictures of,
Then there's Mike Gilbert. He's not here.
no, he's out of town.
Okay.
There's pictures. He's lying. He walked up to my husband and complained that he paid $500 for them. He paid them come into our backyard and cut our trees and we took pictures and that's what you see. It's cut way back from our,
I see the pictures, yeah.
he did that.
Hang on.
We didn't want them cut. He harasses us about our yard all the time. And we don't get any fines. There's nothing wrong with our yard.
So does Mrs. Fogel,
We never see him
your
with her.
ex-wife, does that, do they live next door to you?
She does, and we
Yeah.
never see her outside and we never see him with her.
Is that
ever.
you, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm not sure why she doesn't put a protection order on.
Well, I just do, we're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
He's there like every single day from 6:30 to 9 and then leaves between noon and 4. Almost every single day.
Okay, you can stop, ma'am.
Judge is done hearing you whine. You guys gonna get your guesses in? Will this be put in place or not?
Did you want these photos of him at the end of my driveway?
Ma'am, shut up.
Yes, if you could hand them forward. So, Mr. Thank you.
He's waving
Is that his
arms.
car?
Yep, and he's waving his arms frantically. There was video I sent to the deputy.
And when was this? It's hard to, it's kind of
I
hard
have
to
it on
see.
my phone for
But
the
there's,
date.
there's
They
some
didn't-
Is that a picture of a cell phone or a picture of a computer that somebody actually took? Are you telling me that somebody took that picture of a computer and then printed it out? Is that what that is? Is that a picture? That's a picture of a computer. Oh no. People, don't do this. Hi, loud. I don't know if we're gonna enjoy this or not, but we're here.
pictures here where basically that you were at the end of the driveway after you were being served, trying to get her attention. Is that?
I wasn't getting anybody's attention. I was talking to a neighbor, Chris Tolio.
Okay, all
I
right.
had
You can
stopped
free,
over there.
you can go back and sit back down, ma'am. You can take these with you.
Yes, I was under the assumption you wanted it was a petition for restraining order, but I
Mhm.
wasn't under the assumption that the restraining order was in
It was,
posted.
and you're right. You're right. But all right. And you're Mrs. Fogel, you're her next door neighbor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have anything you wish to add or say? You don't have to, you're just,
Yes, I do.
could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down.
Your Honor, I know Eric for over 40 years. He has never been irrational or threatening to anybody, as far as my knowledge. He's very helpful to me to do what I need him to do for me. As long as we've been here, he has never had any confrontation with anybody for the 20 years that we were married and lived here. He know just about all the 20 homes in our developments and all the people that live there, and he talked to them all the time. He's just a friendly person. I mean, he enjoyed doing the yard work a lot. He helped the neighbor with the yard. He talked to them, and they asked for his opinion as far as how to take care of their yards. And so he just enjoyed doing it. So that's why he volunteered at the golf course at the JBLM for several years. And as far as the laurel bush, Your Honor, it was pushing against my fence. It was overgrown. And I have to constantly go out there and clean up the debris and the leaves off of there all the time. So I would have took the action to have it cut down myself. Because for the simple reason, I say, just to keep my yard nice and clean and not have the leaves blow all over the place.
Mr. Fogel, I'll come back to you. She's saying that, you're coming onto their property when you're not there.
Your
When
Honor,
they're
I
not
came
there.
on, Your Honor, I came on their property 3 times to mow their lawn from the end of October to the end of April. Mr. Chelios mowed the other 3 months out of the 6 months that they were gone. And his response was he felt an obligation to the Gilberts for the Gilberts letting them park 2 of his trailers and his son's basketball hoop in their driveway. And I told him that I would help him out if he needed to, since his kids had sports and extracurricular activities in the evenings. And so if I was mowing, then I would do it that month and he was do it the next month. Even though the Gilberts stopped their landscaping company to keep the lawn from getting out of hand, and Mrs. Fogel's lawn, like I said, they were joining front lawns. So I went ahead and mowed Mrs. Fogel's and I went ahead and mowed Mrs. Gilbert's.
And did you have the gentleman behind you? Do you wish to have him
He's here
testify? Does he
just
know?
to protect me. He was thinking about putting a fence along, so he
Okay.
quits coming in our
So he
property.
doesn't, I mean, if he has any, again, I heard from Mrs. Fogel.
Yeah, we asked the neighbor across the street to watch our house. He didn't mow for us. We don't have it mowed. It doesn't grow in the winter time. That's why we stop our service, because it does
Right,
not
right.
grow.
All right.
So we had him parking his stuff there so that it would look like someone was living there while we were gone. We gave him and only him permission, but they parked in our driveway while we were gone and we thought we were being robbed.
Who parked in your driveway?
The Fogels had people parking in our driveway one day. I saw people coming across the front of my grass. And I tried calling to see if he knew and he wouldn't answer. So I called and I got a hold of her and she acted like she didn't know what he was doing, but she doesn't seem to know what he's doing. He's always out front. And they're not together, but she pretended that she saw that there was cars being parked. And I said, you could have told us we were gone. We thought we were being robbed. And she said, well, there's going to be more coming. More cars coming to park in our driveway. And it doesn't, our driveways are completely opposite of each other. They're not even next to each other. If you've seen those pictures, there's no reason for them to park in our driveway.
Your Honor, can I respond to that, please?
Yes.
In that incident there, we did have a party here for my daughter. I was inside cooking. That's the reason why I didn't know what was going on outside. My daughter's friends came and they parked over there without permission. And I was not aware of it until Mrs. Gilbert called me and asked me if the people that parking, the people is parking in her driveway coming towards my house. Do I know them? And I told her, I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that they were parking in her parking lot. I say, would you like me to move them? And I say, we're just having a party for my daughter. She go, no, it's okay. I just want to make sure that, she knew who was parking in her driveway. That was the only incident that happened.
She did not say she was sorry. I was floored. She said there's going to be more. That's why I thought of calling the police, but I live next door, so I decided to not.
Depending when I get out of here, I might be able to get something delicious for dinner after the gym.
So you had said, Ms. Gilbert, that the gentleman in the back is here for protection. Has Mr. Fogel ever threatened you or anything like that?
I felt highly threatened. He
No,
runs up to you if you're outside.
I'm not asking you how you feel. I'm just asking you feel, has there been any?
Yeah, I feel threatened because he's come back in my secure backyard and I don't know what somebody's gonna do that would do something like that. It makes no sense. Everybody's trying to make sense and say he's a neighbor. He's not a neighbor. So I'm terrified. I don't know what somebody's gonna do that would do something like that. I am a real estate agent. I deal with tons of other people that have neighbors and everything, and nobody has ever witnessed or had to deal with anything like this. It makes no sense to anyone I've talked to.
Mr. Fogel, I'll give you the final word here. Anything else you wish to say?
Yes, Your Honor. As far as Mrs. Gilbert accusing me of going into her backyard, as I told you, and it's in the statement, all the shrubbery that's hanging over Mrs. Fogel's property was trimmed from Mrs. Fogel's property. All the branches that came down, they put them on Mrs. Fogel's property. The landscaper, her landscaping company, picked everything up and hauled it away. As far as a picture of the gate being open, I have never trespassed on Mrs. Gilbert's property unless I was back there with Mr. Gilbert fixing his sprinkler system, which he asked me to do. As far as the gate being open, the landscape, when they come on Thursday, if I'm here, I see them, they try to close the gate open, but the wind blows it back open. Mrs. Fogel has a Chihuahua that's usually out in front of her yard with me when I'm working in her front yard or her backyard. And I go back and close the gate so the Chihuahua will not go back there. I have not stepped on Mrs. Gilbert's property since Mr. Gilbert invited me back to help him with his sprinkler system.
But you went on there to.
Get your votes in the poll right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's only going to be up for just a few minutes. Only 12 of you have voted. There's a few more of you watching. Get your votes in now. Do you think that this TPO will be given or denied? Get your votes in, ladies and gentlemen. Get your votes in.
To mow their yard, didn't you?
That is the front yard, yes, Your Honor, 3 times.
So yeah, that's going on to their property.
Yes, Your Honor.
And hit the
So you
like
did
button
go
while
onto
you're
their
at it.
property. Maybe you were trying to help. I don't know, but
I was trying to be a good neighbor and a courteous neighbor, Your Honor. That's all.
Ending the poll in 3, 2, 1. Results, please, Google, YouTube Daddy. 83% say denied. 16% say this TPO is getting put in place. Who is going to be right? Kaylin is correct. She brought a bodyguard. She's certainly playing the part of distressed lady.
so
He threatened her grass.
I enter my statement that I made into.
I'm sorry,
Can I enter the statement?
you read that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on the record. Everything we're doing here is recorded. You can file it if you wish to, but
Ma'am, that's not a funny joke. Are you copying me? Where did she come from? He buffers, he do the judgy buffer. Buffer.
okay, so maybe I should have read this at the beginning. But the definition of harassment, rise level harassment, is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, or harasses, or is detrimental to such person that serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Course of conduct must be such as would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress and must actually cause substantial emotional distress. The course of conduct is defined as a pattern of conduct composed of a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing a continuity of purpose. Course of conduct includes any form of communication, contact, or conduct, including the sender, and so it goes into stuff that aren't really present here.
Out with it, Judge. Out with it. I need to take another. Actually, I need to take another leave.
So here's what I'm going to do here for today. I've read the definition of harassment as well, of course, of conduct. I'll make a finding that on several occasions, Mr. Fogel went onto the property of the Gilberts, and a couple of times did things that he was not asked to do. And when you talk about harassment, most times it would come from harassment. Usually people are threatening towards each other. And while this, I'm not going to make any finding that this rises to the level of that, it is annoying. When and then we have someone else next to you. That's not the person who was sitting next to you a minute ago.
I know you are. It's my oldest daughter.
Okay. And so, you just can't do that there, Mr.
Yes, I
Fogel.
understand it.
Property without permission and do that. Maybe their lawn needs mowing, but that's their problem, not yours.
Yes, sure.
And the bushes, yes, you're entitled to cut bushes from your own yard, but it's not your yard.
Yes, sure.
And you don't live there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter, but a lot of times when these orders entered, there's a distance restriction that says don't come within 1,000 feet or what have you.
Yes,
I'm
sure.
not going to enter that, but I am going to enter an order that says you're just not to have any contact with the Gilberts. Don't talk to them. Don't look at them. Don't go onto their property. And that's it. You understand that? So you can
Sure.
still go to and from your ex-wife's
Okay.
and do everything you do to there. You can talk to any other neighbor you want, but you just stay away from the Gilberts and their property. Do you understand
Sure.
that?
Yes, you are.
So he can still come to the neighborhood. There's nothing, he's not violating this order
Right
to
on
do
the
that.
property line every day,
But
setting it
well,
up.
look, ma'am, this
Yeah.
is what I'm going to do here for today.
Okay.
And so, and if there's any sort of violation of that, and if you deem that as contact, you can make the appropriate measures you need to take. But just for the next year, you're just not to have any contact with the Gilberts. You understand that, Mr. Fogel?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that'll be it for today. You can get a copy of the order off the Thurston County District Court website. And ma'am, we can make a copy of this order for you here right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're free to leave the Zoom call.
And that was all he wrote. Yeah, can you believe that? I am actually a little bit shocked that that one got put into place. I've seen a lot worse get denied, but I think it was the continued pattern, aka mowing that lawn all the time. Also, she mentioned that he's there every single day. That's a lot. Sounds like they're still married. He's just getting none of the good stuff. Yeah, he has one last question. Can I still mow their lawn? Oh, you guys, that was so fun. I'm so glad we did that together. I have had a great day. I hope you're having a great day. It's only going to get better tomorrow, because tomorrow is Tuesday, and Tuesday we eat tacos. I got a little bit of an autistic vibe, but you know, we don't diagnose people, obviously. Anyways, thanks again for being here. Thanks again for being you. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your evening. I am going to try and find those. I want to find an Amazon listing for like the diamond paintings that are already on the mounting. I love being mounted already. Uh-oh. Casey Carey getting ex-husband butt dials. I know. Do my raids work, though? They haven't been working lately. Let me see if I can try and set it up. And then I will say goodbye. Say goodbye. Bye. Let me try. Oh my god. Here we go. Let's see. Is he going on tonight? I don't even see him. Is it members only? Or is Colin even going? Oh shit. I don't think he is. Oh, there it is. I found it. Members Monday. Maybe it will let me get there. Okay. All right. I set that up. I saved it. That's the best that I can do. I'll say goodnight. I'll say goodnight. And remember, I love you. Seriously, I love you. I'm proud of you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Wait, where's that fucking outro? God fucking damn it, Paisley. I love you guys. Bye.
Ways down and